Estás escuchando el AZ Rock Countdown directamente desde Rockville con Pequeque. Y bien contento de que me prestes tus oídos todas las semanas a través de tu mundo de rock online, AZ Rock, y en Bolivia y Sudamérica por César Radio Rock. Y continuando con esto que comenzamos con Sabio Vega, de estar presentando un poquito más de las historias de los luchadores que son bien similares al tipo de vida que tienen los músicos, lo que son tour musicians, tienen una vida bien similar, es casi exacta a lo que son la vida del luchador que está, ¿verdad? Usualmente tureando. Y tuve la oportunidad de hablar con Sabio Vega, con el boricua mayor, TNT, digo Sabio sobre esto, pero ahora tengo a alguien que tengo el privilegio de llamar amigo, es alguien que conozco de una época bien especial en Puerto Rico. Y ustedes lo recuerdan como uno de los mejores luchadores que pasó por Puerto Rico. Muchos lo recuerdan como el Lobo Solitario, Andy Anderson, ¿ok? Actualmente, The God of Thunder, Andy Anderson. Oh, yeah. Y un gran amigo Andy Lewis. Y los recuerdos son especiales. Hablaremos ahora de eso. Bueno, aquí para ustedes los dejo aquí en el AC Rock Countdown con, para mí, una leyenda en Puerto Rico y uno de los luchadores más sólidos que ha dado Canadá, el gran Andy Anderson. Andy Lewis, welcome to the AC Rock Countdown, brother.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is great. It's great to see you. I mean, we chatted online from time to time, but being here face to face, and I mean, we're a little more gray than the last time we spoke. But man, it's just,
definitely.
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
I'm super excited that you're here, man. I was telling everyone in Spanish that my memories that when we used to hang out were amazing. You know, we got at some point a relationship that you visited me at home at some point. And I was telling Sabio when we were speaking a couple of last week on the show last week, that you were the one who showed me that what you do you cannot fuck around with that. So it's the real deal. And I remember that I told him I told at my house Andy that I can put the Cobra clutch. And he just did this, and I was flat on my back on the floor, and he was laughing, and that really happened. I don't know if you remember that, but I learned the hard way because of you, that are a professional, that you don't mess with that. So, and I want to talk about Andy Anderson. First of all, in Puerto Rico, you're very, very respected as a performer, as a wrestler, because at some point, and you were considered one of the best wrestlers in Puerto Rico. And for example, at some point, hopefully, it's not a disrespect, but not because of the what happened at the end, but there were comparisons of your kind of wrestling performances, like with Chris Benoit, and you were like the Chris Benoit for Puerto Ricans, you know, it's something like that. So that kind of good you are, and you are part of the history of Puerto Rican wrestling, and but not only that, you have an amazing career. You were, on your resume, you have performed for Ring of Honor, if I'm not mistaken, WWC, WWE, and Canada, and you're I want, first of all, Andy Anderson.
Yes.
When you started?
I first started training for wrestling back in 1996 up here in Canada, and that was spring 1996. And by the summer, the gentleman that kind of brought me in and trained me, his name is Vance Nevada, Mr. Beefy Goodness these days. We went down to the States, and that's where some more opportunities got created, made some contacts, came back to Canada, then went back to the States, and then was kind of back and forth for a couple of years. And then eventually I met Victor Quinones in Tennessee. He got me on, that was 1998, May 1998. He got me onto an episode of Monday Night Raw where I was a security guard. I did a whole thing throughout the show with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was very cool.
Wow.
And then he said, hey, like, you know, when you're done here in the States, if you ever want an opportunity like in Puerto Rico or somewhere else, let me know and I'll see what I can do. And when my time came up in the States, that was in August, and I had to drive back to Canada. And I mean, cell phones back then were kind of in its infancy, so it's not like it is today. We could just, you know, make a call or send a text or whatever. But it took me 2 days to drive back to Canada. And so when I left Nashville, I think I left Victor a message saying, hey, like, I'm going back to Canada. If there's an opportunity, let me know. I got back into Canada saying, hey, this Victor Quinones called, call him back. He's like, no, are you interested in going to Mexico? Yeah. And then like a month and a half later, I went to Mexico for a few months. Got back to Canada. He's like, hey, do you want to come to Puerto Rico for a few weeks? I'm like, yeah. So that was, I think, 1998, and that was for WWC. So when I first went to Puerto Rico, that's when I was wrestling for WWC. And then it was like back to Canada. Then it was back to Mexico, back to Canada, and I think to Puerto Rico, and then Japan came in there. And then eventually from, you know, I was living in Puerto Rico from 1999 till about 2003.
That's when I met you. I met you during that time, and
yes.
For example, you were talking about moving from Mexico to Japan to Puerto Rico. That's exactly what I was telling everyone that listens to your countdown, that you're kind of life, the life of a performer, a wrestler. It's it's exactly the same of a touring musician. How can you can you share some experiences, you know, so because people think, you know, that being on the road is easy. No, you're famous, and you're so popular, and you're so they want you in Japan, but it's not easy at all. It's super complicated. And can you share some experiences about it?
Oh, geez, I wouldn't know where to start. And even during these times, I mean, you talk about, you know, kind of like, the fame of it, and again, similar to, I'm sure, to the music industry, you know, you go through a lot of this, you're paying your dues, and so you're not well known. Mm-hmm. You know, you're just a band, or you're just an individual traveling from place to place. Sometimes the travel arrangements are good, sometimes, you know, not so good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I was fortunate for the most part, and to be honest, I enjoyed the travel. So before people said it was hard, I never really had an issue. Like, I liked being on the planes. I didn't mind having the time in the airport. I sleep well on planes. So for me, it's like, okay, like, it's easy enough
That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
I've had plenty of times where I fall asleep even before the plane takes off, and they're like, excuse me, sir, you have to be awake for takeoff. No. But,
that's a superpower for what you do. That's a superpower.
I'll take it. But I mean, I've been in a car with 5 or 6 guys all cramped in, you know, going from town to town. I've stayed in the hotels where, you know, you got 4 or 5 guys staying, and there's like 2 double beds, and it's like, okay, we're gonna take the mattresses off, put 1 mattress in between the box springs here, put 1 mattress here, and then it's like, okay, well, who's the senior guy? Who's got the experience? Okay, the veteran. Okay, so you sleep on the mattress, you get this mattress.
Wow. The amount of respect. Wow.
Where were we? We were in Kentucky, somewhere in Kentucky maybe, and it had to be like a Red Roof Inn or somewhere like cheap hotel. And I remember I got a mattress, and it was on the floor, and I was sleeping like with my head down like this, and I felt something go across my back, and we flipped the light on real quick, and there was a cockroach going around. So, you know, the cockroach basically went across my back. So,
that's,
you know,
tour life. That's tour life. Oh yeah.
You know, then there's other times where you're, I mean, and again, nowadays with technology, you know, you're on your phone. It's like, okay, you get out the app, you get Expedia. I can get a hotel in, you know, 2 or 3 minutes. Whereas 25 years ago, you get out the book, and it's like, okay, we have to stop and, you know, use a payphone, or you just show up at the hotel and hope there's rooms. And if they don't have a room, it's like, okay, well, you go to the truck stop and you park the car, and it's like, okay, well, you sleep in the front seat, I sleep in the back seat, and let's just nap for a couple hours until we can, you know, get some to sleep, you know, exhaustion off.
And how do you find the time, for example, to exercise to keep yourself fit? You know, when you're doing, for example, when you're on tour, because musicians will just sleep or would drink or would, you know, but you guys, you gotta be you get on, you know, in shape and
Yep.
not only that, take care of your craft. So how do you
Yeah.
find time?
The gym, I think for those that were active in the gym, that's just part of the routine. You know,
Okay.
whether you know, like you hear them now and they say it's like, okay, well, it's like, you know, you get on a plane, you fly to the next town, you land, you check into the hotel, you go hit the gym, you get a bite to eat, you go to the show. When you're on the road, when you're driving, a lot of times it's okay, well, we're driving to the next town. It depends what time you get to the town. You know, maybe you hit the gym, or then you show up at the building. Maybe you get a chance if the ring is set up, or you either help set up at the ring, or you know, you get into the ring, do a little bit of training, have a bite to eat before the show, go back. It depends. You just it's like anything nowadays, right? Like if you're gonna go to the gym, you find time. For me as a single dad and with a
Mm-hmm.
full-time job, I get up at
Mm-hmm.
5:30 in the morning. I go to the gym first thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I get to the gym, I'm half asleep. I'm waiting for my pre-workout to kick in so I can start training, and then I get on with my day. So, yeah, you find ways to make it work.
So it's incredible. You've been doing this for how long?
So that was 98. So this is 26 years.
Yeah,
26 years. Although so in 2004, I had got rung pretty well with a concussion. And so the doctor said, like, you need to stop. So I took about 4 years off. And then when I started back again, the matches I was doing, like, I've never gone back to, like, the way you saw El Lobo wrestle in IWA. I can't do that style anymore. I mean, especially, I mean, I'm older now anyways, but even just for like some of the bumps to protect the head and everything.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that first. Your health first. But I remember, if I'm not mistaken, you had a very nasty bump with Super Crazy, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. I don't know.
Yes, I ended up breaking my collarbone.
Yeah, and
That was
I
the
remember
TLC match in Carolina. Yes, I
Yeah,
fell off the ladder. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I fell off the ladder, broke my collarbone, didn't know it was broken, still finished the match.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, I went for a WWE camp in Cincinnati. And then it was while doing that camp, it was bothering me so much that they sent me to get x-rays. And then when they did the x-rays, they're like, oh yeah, like your collarbone is like broken in two, like on top. Yeah. But it was such a clean break that, you know, you said usually when people break their collarbone, you have like a crack. And so that's when you kind of get like that wing and you can't really do anything. But because the bone was on top of each other, I still had mobility. You know, I wasn't not like 100%, but I could still move it. And basically the WWE camp was over because it's like, well, you know, you can't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Okay, but how was your experience with WWE?
other than the fact of never getting signed, it honestly really good. I did two different kind of the camps that they had. I did one in 1999 or 2000, somewhere in there. Shane, is that the one Shane and I were at together? No.
Saying the Glamour Boy?
Yeah, I'm trying to. No, we did matches together. I don't think we were. Oh no, we were at the camp together. Yeah, I think it was like 1999 or 2000. Shane and I both went. I think that's right. And Dory Funk Jr., Dr. Tom Pritchard, they ran the camp. At that time, like Blue Meanie was in there. Road Warrior Hawk was there for a couple days because he was doing some stuff. Kurt Angle was in the process of training, so I got to be in the ring with Kurt Angle a bunch of times there. And then I did another camp in 2002, which was the one I was just telling you about, where you know, the broken collarbone. And then I did dark matches. I did matches for like Sunday Night Heat and Velocity, so I got to work. I worked with Kai and Ty. Shane and I did a tag match with those guys. Shane and I worked each other in a dark match. I worked Rikishi, Orlando Jordan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you know, so and then a couple other guys too with dark matches. Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Yeah.
He was really young up here in Canada for a dark match. But looking back in that time frame, like you look at the talent that they had, and it was so hard to kind of crack into that lineup. I mean, you look at all the Hall of Famers and all the wrestlers that were there from kind of like, you know, in that 2000, 2003 period. And it just, you know, they said like, hey, like, you're really good, you're great, but we just have nothing for you. And it's like, okay, well, you know, you look on SmackDown and there's Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, Jericho, Edge, you know, Chavo Guerrero, Kurt Angle. It's like Rey Mysterio, and then you go to you know, Raw, and you got this. Like,
I totally.
So and at the time too, at the time too, like I'm only like about 5'10", maybe about 6 feet with my boots on. So I mean, I'm not like super tall, and back then I was like a legit 210, 215 pounds. So I was still considered a bit more of a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was before Daniel Bryan kind of came in, before, you know, a lot of the smaller guys. So I kind of missed the window a bit there, because I've had people tell me like, oh, if you came in like 3 years later, 5 years later, you'd have had a job, no problem. But it just, you know, it's, again, like music, it's timing, it's the right place, right time.
Yeah, it works almost the same, you know.
Absolutely.
You gotta be, and the music is about the right time, you know. It's the same thing with wrestling, and what you're saying is totally true. You maybe 5 years later, you know, after or after Daniel Bryan, come on, man. I remember, and you were saying about a lot of legends. For example, that you mentioned of that time in WWE, you became one of the faces of Puerto Rican wrestling at that time, man. And I'm not kidding. When we still talk about Puerto Rican wrestling, and we mentioned Shane, and we mentioned Apollo, and Big Banderas, Andy Anderson is part of the conversation, you know, and you earned that, and you earned love and respect from a lot of Puerto Ricans still till today.
I'm very humbled to hear that. So thank you. So gracias a todos that I remember Andy Anderson. That makes me feel good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you earned it, bro. And now I would like to talk a little bit about the God of Thunder. What's going on with that? How about God of Thunder? You're wrestling, you're doing something, and I think you're kind of playing back. Tell me something about it.
Well, so, you know, with wrestling, I was wrestling locally up here in Alberta, Canada. And then COVID hit, so I mean, everything stopped. And then when things kind of picked back up, I was sort of so about kind of getting back into the wrestling, and I do a match here, do a match there, and then you kind of get to the point, it's like, well, I don't know, like, you know, things change so much, the styles change so much, and now it's funny, I'm kind of more of like an old school kind of guy compared to, you know, maybe what I was 20 years ago. And so, you know, then after COVID, some more new promotions kind of popped up. So I kind of worked with one promotion, and things were kind of so-so, and kind of left it alone. And then I had an opportunity with another promotion here in Edmonton called Top Talent Wrestling. Great promotion. They run one show about every 6 to 8 weeks. We have a show coming up February 9th. We've got Penta coming in. Penta Zero Miedo.
Cero Miedo.
Yeah, so he's coming in. Effie, Josh Alexander from TNA, they're coming in. So a lot of great talent, and there's a lot of great talent locally as well. So having conversations with the promoter of that company, and we're talking about coming in, and I'm thinking like, well, hey, like I want to try something a little different. What do you think? He's like, well, he says, well, we like El Lobo because El Lobo has that history. We can look back to your time in Puerto Rico and Mexico and Japan and whatnot. And the other kind of motivation for me now is, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a single dad, so I've got 2 daughters, and I love my daughters at the best. Now you see I post all the time about them, and they were kind of part of the motivation for me to kind of start wrestling a bit more again. You know, they wanted to see it, and it's like, okay, you know, like, and I was like, okay. So my youngest, her name's Ruby. She's a big Kiss fan, loves Kiss. Yeah, she got into, you know what? She got into it, and this is, you know, you always talk about Kiss and the marketing and everything they're involved in, everything. Kiss meets Scooby-Doo. So, we're watching Scooby-Doo, and this is several years ago, and I had it. I'm like, okay, well, girls, we're going to watch this. And it's like, they're either going to get scared of it or they're going to like it. And so they finished watching it, and it was kind of quiet. It's like, "Do you guys like it?" It's like, "Yeah, that was awesome." I was like, "Oh, yeah." And
yeah.
so both of them liked it, but Ruby just really grabbed onto Kiss. So, like, she's got Kiss posters up in her room. She's got some T-shirts. Yeah, oh yeah. Not this past Halloween, but Halloween, that would have been 2022, I guess. She went as Star Child, so we got her a costume, painted her face. We got her inflatable guitar. Kiss came to Edmonton as part of the End of the Road tour, so we went to the concert. She got her face, she painted her face all up, and loves Kiss. And so she kind of waffles between the Demon and Star Child of who's her favorite and whatever. Even when Gene Simmons, that was also 2 or 3 years ago, he came out with the Moneybag vodka, and he came around for a promotional tour, so we went for that. So we got, she got to meet Gene Simmons. She had one of her Demon action figures with her and stuff, and he was super cool with her. So I don't know, somewhere in the music and getting back to the whole El Lobo and where did God of Thunder come from. So I asked the promoter from Top Talent Wrestling. I was like, yeah, with the El Lobo thing, and he's like, well, he says, or the God of Thunder. He says, we want to do the El Lobo. If you want to still kind of have God of Thunder, you can still kind of do that too. So it's kind of like, it's funny because people are like, how many nicknames do you have? I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever. I was like, how many nicknames does Chris Jericho have? How many does the Undertaker have?
Exactly.
Right. So the promo video for when I come, or the entrance video, it has like El Lobo, it has God of Thunder, Canadian legend, and so I had a pair of tights made. They're like silver and black, and it's like the outline is like Gene Simmons face paint. So it's like the Demon's kind of face paint on my legs and everything. So those are the Demon pants. So the God of Thunder. And it's funny because I don't even use the God of Thunder for my entrance music. Like, you'd think that would be like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But with Top Talent, they've got some amazing people that work with the audio and visual. And so with the audio, he's like, well, if you want, because the song that I use, that I've been using here in Canada since like 2012, is a kind of a bluesy gospel song called Burning Hell by Tom Jones. Yeah, so if you ever get a chance, maybe after you listen to it, Burning Hell, Tom Jones. And it's like, I picked it because I love Tom Jones. And it's like, no one else is going to use Tom Jones.
Yes,
and so I'm like, okay, well, this is just something different. And like the guitar riff, like when you hear it, it's like I said, very bluesy. And it's like, it's cool, but I mean, I don't want people, it's funny. It's a good song. I just don't want people to like it, if that makes sense. Like, it's not a song that I want people clapping to or following, because I'm a heel. Right? To me, like, I'm a heel, old school heel. I don't want to be a cool heel. I don't want people cheering for me, because that's not my job. That's the baby face.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, you'll hear the song, you'll know it's me, but there's nothing really to kind of clap along
so the
to.
intention with the song is that to feel uncomfortable, so that you don't really like it.
Yeah. Just that it's not a known or popular song.
Okay.
Because most people, they're gonna pick, it's like, okay, well, this is like a classic Metallica song. Yeah. It's like, well, no, I don't want that. Like, I just want, it's like, okay, well, I recognize that. That's Al Lobo. That's Andy Anderson. I hate this guy. That's what I want.
Okay.
So, but anyways, the Top Talent music guy, John, he made a mix sort of. So it starts with Burning Hell, and then it turns into God of Thunder. So I kind of got both. So it's cool. I'll send you I'll have to send you the video later so you can see it. But
that'd be amazing.
So that's there. And then the other promotion that I work with primarily is Can-Am Wrestling, and they have a long history. They're out of Calgary, Alberta. So if you're familiar, kind of like with the Hearts and the legacy of like Stampede Wrestling, that's kind of the same area. And so there, it's just I'm the God of Thunder, Andy Anderson.
Boom.
So that's kind of how that rolls there. But the character essentially is a bully, and that's to me like one of the, I don't know if I say the easiest, but nobody likes a bully, right? Like, I mean, even when I have people try to cheer for me, I'll still go off on them. You know, it's like, oh, like, you know, you're trying to be cool cheering for me, but you're never gonna be as cool as I am, or like, I don't need you cheering for me, or whatever. Like, I'm still gonna trash talk them and basically tell them to go screw themselves, because like, you know, I don't want to be cheered for.
Yeah, you stick to the character, and that's how that's respectful, man. That you know you care about your craft, you care about what you're
very much
you're creating. So that's freaking amazing. I'm glad to hear that you're still doing what you love, Andy. You know that I respect you a lot, man. And
likewise.
Some of the best memories. I need to share this. At one time we met Chris Rock together. We were together in Puerto Rico.
Chris Rock. Kid Rock.
Yes. Kid Rock. Kid Rock. Kid Rock. And Kid Rock Kid Rock. And we took a picture with him and with Pamela Anderson also.
Yes.
And I had the chance to share that experience. And I'm not mistaken, Slash was
Slash Venom.
Slash Venom.
Slash Venom. There is my buddy Angel Diaz. He's still someone I keep in touch with to this day. A friend of mine. That's been like 25, 26 years. I mean, we haven't seen each other since 2003, 2004. But he was with us as well. So that was just I can tell you a lot about it. I still remember. Where were you? Was it Plaza Las Americas you were working at the time? There was somewhere you were working. It was on the second.
I'm getting Gravity, man. You remember Gravity? You know.
Okay, there. Yes, and I remember we met. We saw you there, and we were talking, and you knew I was a big Kid Rock fan, and you were like, yeah, Kid Rock's gonna be here and this and that, and he said, okay, well he's gonna be here, so try and get here. It was like it must have been like a Friday or Saturday night, because we had a wrestling show.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the town. I want to say Humacao, but I don't know if that's right. I can kind of see the town in my head. But I remember my buddy Angel, he came to the show, and like soon as I was done, like I got it cleared with Savio or whoever that I could leave. So it's like, as soon as the show was done, Humacao. If I saw the name of the town, I'd know what it was. But he came, he picked me up. We came back. We met up with you at Loopy's.
Loopy's, yeah.
He was at Loopy's, and I remember him at the table. He was there with Pamela, and then he had some other guy with him there too, because his buddy went up on stage, and it was like the guy was like playing some music or something like that. And then eventually Slash showed up. So that's how Slash Venom showed up. He was there because he was a Kid Rock fan too. And then Kid Rock ended up going up on stage, and he just kind of fooled around. Like I remember him. He was doing some Aerosmith because he sounded like Steven Tyler with the voice, like that. So they were there for a bit, and then they left, and they went to the Ritz-Carlton.
Yep.
Hotel, that's where they were staying, and they were in the lobby. So then the group of us, we went down, and he was there, and we showed up, there was a group of people. He had a guitar, somebody else had a guitar, and they're just kind of messing around and chatting. And then I remember you kind of went up to him and said, like, hey, like, you know, kid, like, you introduced yourself. Yeah, he already knew you or something. However, he knew you.
Yeah.
Because it was like the producers or something. That's how you guys. That was the connection. And I was like, yeah, do you mind? Like, can we get a picture? And he was like super cool. I was like, yeah. So we got behind the couch, and then that was how we got the picture. And that was super. The other thing I remember about that is there was at one point before the picture, Slash and I were kind of hanging off to the side, and Pamela. I don't know if she went to the washroom or what she did, but she went somewhere, and so he was kind of hanging, Slash kind of hanging by, because he was a big Pamela Anderson fan. I wasn't. I you know what? I get she's like the blonde and, you know, big boobs.
Yeah, I know.
Just wasn't for me. But he was a big fan. He wanted to get a picture, and so he was kind of talking to me, and she was coming by, and he's like, "Hey Pam, like, you know, I'm a big fan. Do you mind if I get a picture with you real quick?" And she was like, "Yeah, no, I don't think so." And I was just like, oh, like, yeah, like you're a Canadian, you know? It's like, oh. Yeah, it just, to me, it was kind of like left a bad taste in the mouth. I'm like, come on, man.
Totally.
Like,
Totally, totally.
So,
Yeah,
but
I feel you.
but
my friend.
overall,
I feel
that
you.
experience is very good. So whatever year that was, and it was right around Kid Rock's birthday too. That's why he was there. He was celebrating his birthday because it was in January.
Exactly.
So see, I mean, I forget a lot of stuff, but I remember that, and that's so for me, I am grateful forever to you for helping me meet Kid Rock, one of my favorites. So that's muchas gracias.
That was an amazing experience for both of us. Thank you, Andy,
Yes.
for being here with me today and at Hero Countdown. Something that you want to say to the Puerto Ricans that are listening to you right now?
To all the Puerto Rican wrestling fans, thank you so much for remembering El Lobo Andy Anderson. Thank you, my friend, for inviting me on here. It's a pleasure. Congratulations to IWA on 25th anniversary. Hopefully I'll get down to Puerto Rico sometime. I still got a few matches left in me. I would love to come down and entertain the fans and catch up and meet the new fans. As for El Lobo Andy Anderson, you can find me on Instagram. I'm that guy, TCB 247, I think it is. And I got wrestling on there. I got me in the gym in there. Always fun stuff. And thank you. Muchas gracias.
And thank you, Andy. Thanks a lot for being here with Pequeque. Y continuamos ahora con el AC Rock Countdown.